Welcome all to the commission meeting. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, the January 21st meeting? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor then?
Aye.
Okay, motion approved. Okay, then we will just jump straight to introducing Shannon.
I can lead in, but Shannon joined our team at OPL 4.5 years ago.
Coming up on 4.
Coming up on
Yeah.
4. And came to us as our catalog librarian. Came from, I'll let you tell about your experience, but through the last interview process for a new division manager, we actually left the position vacant for a few months to, obviously with some of the changes in the organizational change, we wanted to make sure that we are hiring for the new team. Anytime you have a vacancy, I think you want to just make sure, we don't want to just hire the position we had before. And so we spent a few months, and I actually got a chance to work closely with Shannon in her previous role, as well as our other librarian in the division, Julie Heckert, to really talk about what the needs of the team were, and as we think about moving to our new, more collaborative work environment, what would they want from a division manager, what would be needed. And so through both that process and then the interview process, Shannon just really excelled on both the technical skills, the education skills she has, but also I think a lot of that people management and leadership skills. So just thrilled to have her join us as our 3rd division manager. So our admin team is myself, 3 division managers, and Sharon. And so I'll let you go ahead and tell us about yourself and what you're excited for the division.
Okay. Well, like Bryce said, I was the cataloging librarian, and my background and really interest is more on the technical aspects of library work and kind of caring for our collection. So my division kind of helps the collection to stay in good condition throughout its entire lifespan, is how we like to say that. And what I'm most excited for is the move to our new workroom. Once all the construction is done and settled, it will be a great experience to be working closer with my team. So that's what I am looking forward to the most.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
I don't know if we'd like to go around and introduce, I think you've been to this is first.
This is the
It was
first
just
one?
Julie that came, so if
Yeah.
you're okay with that, I'd love to
Absolutely.
get a chance to introduce the rest of the team.
Start, Nancy.
What?
Introducing yourself.
I'm Nancy.
And Nancy, are you our newest member of the commission?
I've been here, this will be 15 months, so I guess so.
I think so.
Pretty close to Lorraine too, right?
Pretty close,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. And I'm Lorraine. I'm a former librarian, worked in Texas and Ohio, and Midvale. And so, once you're in the library, you just can't get out. And I'm pretty impressed with, having worked in several different systems, I'm pretty impressed with Orem. I'm used to bigger systems, more bureaucracy. It's very nice that maybe you don't have all that.
I'm Katrina. Been on the commission pushing 3 years, I think now.
I'm Karina Lewis. I'm also impressed with the Orem Library. I come from Grants Pass, Oregon, where they actually voted to end the library for tax, they didn't want to tax people for the library, so they closed it and had a community library instead, and I was a volunteer, so that's when I started caring about libraries.
Matt Brown, and been here a little while, but live in Orem, I teach at Orem High, and just want to be involved.
What do you teach?
I teach the media classes, computers, and then run the radio station. So,
We reached out to y'all to help coordinate our Orem Fest.
yeah, we're going to run the fireworks music over the radio. And
So you can be at each of the different parks around town and feel like you're in tune for the entire
yes,
fireworks show this summer. So thanks for doing that.
yeah.
That's
That's really cool. That's really cool.
And your students then are the ones running it?
Students run the radio, yes. For Summerfest, it's going to be summertime, and there won't be there. But a student will probably be running it because I'm going to be out of town. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. No, it'll be great. So
Well, good to meet all of you.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Shannon knows us.
You know us,
I'm
right?
sorry, yeah, I skipped
No,
over
I
the library admin people.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is discussion and then approval on the Orem City Art Collection and Display Policy. So we'll open that up for discussion. You know, I've read through it a couple times. Does anyone have comments on it?
We did not have Holly come back this time. She obviously had a chance to present at the
Right,
January
she did.
meeting. If you have questions, we're glad to get them to her. She reports to Jamie. Or, you know, again, we have the minutes and the recording that you're able to go back and consult as well if you sort of want to hear some of the intent or genesis.
Right,
Obviously, if we missed
right.
it, we're glad to revise it, but Holly's presentation last month was connected to, or last meeting was
Connected to this, yes, absolutely. So open for discussion, or questions or comments.
I think most of the questions were asked last time. So.
Yeah. And who does this, so Holly is under you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
So the collection will fall under your division.
Actually, Mike oversees the art committee. And so Holly works in my division, and so I'm her direct supervisor, but
her
the,
full-time position is our
children's.
lead children's librarian. She has a degree in art history and a special certificate in art curation. So by
So she's
special
crossing
assignment.
over
So
a
she-
little bit,
Gotcha.
okay.
I'm lending her.
Oh, you're very nice to do that.
Yeah, it's nice.
And is it a one-woman group, or does she have a team that?
There is a team
Okay.
that, many of which have art history backgrounds and things that collaborate together for the art displays and curation of our collections. And they work with the city collections,
Yeah,
right?
they manage the cities, you know, the pieces that are in the new city hall or something like that. It is still handled through the library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
One other note, I believe it was last meeting that we had, it was suggested or brought up that we might have some participatory exhibits, and I think we have started to work with our new events librarian, Meg Flinders-Pay, to build a program that would incorporate that. And so, not quite all the way there, but I can't remember who brought it up, but we will have some sort of participatory, thematic art display up for a couple of weeks, sometime later this year.
Anyone? Any other questions? Do we have a motion to, are we approving it? A
You
motion
accept
to
it.
accept it?
Accept it.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the policy as it's been presented.
I make a motion that we accept the policy as presented.
Do I have a second?
second that motion to accept the policy.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you.
Just as an item of business, we will bring each of these collection policies up. I think it calls for every 3 years. And so you'll get about one, I think we have 4 policies now, so you'll get about one a year to review. Even if there are no significant changes, we just want to make sure that those are coming to y'all on a regular basis.
Okay.
That's the art display, sorry, the art one now, then the other ones like library displays was policy,
Yep.
then there was
Collections.
collections, oh yes, I remember reviewing that one at the beginning.
And we've talked a lot about our, either like a more formal media, James, our media librarian, of what we show and what we have. And so there might be something for that, and then same thing for some of how we present our programs as well. So that one's not a full-on policy like the other ones are, but I think as we look at those, you know, we'll figure out which ones make sense to bring to y'all, or if y'all have preference on, hey, we want to talk about that, we would be glad to receive that from y'all.
Okay. Oh, I will say, real quick, I forgot. I clicked on a link and it didn't work.
Oh, no.
from the document, but I didn't go double check to make sure it worked
Was it
on
the
the,
collection development?
it was the feedback form, library display feedback form. That link did not work, but I didn't go to actually the library website to see if it worked from there. So it might just have been from the document itself.
Great. I know we keep it in two places. We keep it both in our ILS, so you can just search for that and it pops up there, and we also keep a copy on our website. We'll see which one.
Well, and it also, I wasn't overly concerned because it also said you can, if a patron needed it, they have them, at the reference desk too, so. Okay, so next point to discuss is, I'm assuming this is from you, Bryce? Yeah, from Bryce on the renovation.
All right.
Yeah, so we had,
This is what's up.
this is, can't make that picture.
Here. There's some copies if you want to. It's still, you might need to pass it around.
There we go.
There are a few copies. There, sorry, I think all of it. That's on the share.
You're good.
Do we have the ability to do just the front half of lights, or is it sort of all?
It's just all.
Let's
Which we want
let's
to
test that really
change.
quick.
When we
We get to the
renovate
20.
this room, we'd like to also have dimmers.
How do we-
Oh, yeah.
Is this too dark? Should we go back to lights and lay the copies in front of you? Let's try this.
Let's try this.
Yeah, it's nice and moody. That's, yeah.
Open up a panel over there, right?
Oh yeah.
You just see-
So we had a chance to meet with we have our designer, which is Method Studios. They have done the architectural design work, some of the coordination of like our civil engineering, our electrical engineering, all of those services. They finished in November. We presented that at a city council meeting. And we got documents to our general contractor, Leighton Construction, who is managing the city center project right now. If you're familiar with construction projects, if we don't have to pay a mobilization fee to the contractors to come out and set up and bring their trailer over, we're able to save significant dollars. And so in tying it to the city center project, where they're already here, they've already got their electricians on site, and their whoever's on site, we are able to get a much more economical deal. The city also engaged this process with the public safety building, which is going through an interior renovation as well right now. And so really trying to maximize our dollars and get as many of the dollars on the patron-facing things and not on things like mobilization fees or design fees or retainers or anything like that. So we met with the construction team, Leighton Construction, actually this morning to go over essentially egress and ingress during the project. And so how much can we shut down at one time and stay open? Or what portions of this would require us to shut down so much that we have to close? We cannot safely have people in the building. Some of that we are not in total control of, because if you entered today through the breezeway and then you sort of turn right into the library or left into the city center, that city center is coming down. And so you can't, we don't control when that part's open and closed and how much damage. And underneath that breezeway is the entire mechanical room for the new city center. So we can't control that. So there's some stuff that we are in control of and we can say, hey, we're comfortable with that or not. Other things, they're just sort of telling us what's going to happen and we have to make decisions with that. So our current plan for the project is that the power to the old city center will be turned off on Sunday, April 27th. When they turn power off, they can officially start demolition. Obviously there'll be stuff going on in between now and then, but April 27th will begin the demolition, or Monday, April 28th will begin the demolition of the current city center. When that happens, that red fence along the bottom, and I, again, apologize for the quality of the graphic. This is a screen presenting my phone, taking a picture of the screen in the Leighton trailer. So we get what we get. But this red fence right here will go up, and the new site will take over even more space. There will be an additional fence right here, which will make this a new construction yard. And so there will be, that is entrance 1, and that is entrance 2 to the main library. Now, we can't just close for 4 months, especially during summer. And so what we are going to do is we are going to build a new main entrance into one of the 3 big windows in the children's area along the north side of the building. And all of our traffic will go in, walk down First North and into children. So basically, where the stained glass is and the end of the stacks, When you walk in, you'll have story time and a pathway to the hall right in front of you. You'll turn left to get to most of the children's and the stairs upstairs, and we should retain access to the bridge right here that connects the two buildings. And so they will shut off basically a diagonal from the bridge over, and all of this will be construction, and then this will be demolition, and then the courtyard itself will be construction. So we will have emergency exits out of our main entrances through the construction yard. If the building's on fire, that's allowed. They have a call, they shut everything down, and people can exit in emergency. But all of our traffic will enter off of First North. There's a plan for ADA parking, a new ADA ramp that will remain afterwards. And we will get more information from them in terms of, is all of this going to be closed, all of the entire project? Or is there a world where, hey, after we do the demolition and that building comes down, we can probably open up that south entrance sooner than later, or maybe the exact opposite. That one stays closed the entire time. They'll close the children's entrance for a few weeks while they do some of the big interior demo, and then once they've built the walls and all of that, they can open the entrance back up because their team will be working behind the new wall, and it's okay. That we don't know yet, but basically what the plan tells us is we will not have significant full closures during the project, which was very good news. There's definitely a chance where we close on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday because they're doing something big, or they're shutting down all the power to do X, Y, and Z. That's a possibility. But our number one hope was that we were not going to have 3 weeks in June, some of our busiest and really most needed months for families and kids out of school. We don't think that we're going to have a full shutdown, or even a shutdown. We had gone through some options where they would only allow staff in the basements because the courtyard egress would not be available, and so we have staff here that are running stuff up and doing holds and doing that. As of right now, that does not seem to be necessary, and with some definite inconveniences, some definite parking, we lose our 10 closest spots, we lose our drive-through book drop. Not to say that this won't be inconvenient, but we won't have closures. We have also purchased another book drop. Shannon has really led out on this, that we hope to be able to place somewhere over here or right here, and then we would designate some spots. It's not a drive up, but you'd be able to, we designate the 4 or 6 parking spots as 2-minute parking. You hop out, you put your books in, and our staff will run and go get that. We have not talked to PB or traffic yet, but maybe trying to get some of those spots right there to be 5-minute parking only, so you can run in, grab your holds, and run out. Some of that. Now, Jamie, you weren't here for this meeting today, so hopefully
I was
you've been
not.
caught up.
This is all new.
This is all new. Okay, cool. So we had done some early plans. We had really thought that like our acquisitions area right here would be open, but it got shut down by our building inspector today because they didn't like the size of the access that we had based off the volume we have, and which is great. We fully support that. Safety first. But we're going to have to find out, we have no gates, we have no holds, we have the existing children's desk, which will probably likely function as our front desk, circulation desk, everything. We've got 2 power outlets there, and I think two computer terminals. We have a vacant workspace here at the back where we used to have our programs team. They've moved upstairs. That will probably be our backup house, acquisitions, check-in, and all of that. But April 28th is when this gets real, and so our staff will have about a month to readjust from a southeast entrance to a northwest entrance, and we'll start to get some real timelines from Layton and everything like that. The end of the project per Layton has to be done by August 25th. I don't know if they've got another big building that they're doing or whatnot, but a lot of what they've said is they want to be trucks out of here by August 25th and completely done. So that gives us May, June, July, and August to be going through some construction. Now, some other mitigation that we've worked through, a lot of our summer reading events and programs have been planned at parks, at the Hillcrest Center, outside. Story times will be really crossing our fingers for great sunny, but not too hot, but dry weather outside. We've got our makerspace has basically put together an entire summer of programs and workshops and clinics and camps that can be away from here. Even Mike, who runs our library hall, we had some opportunities to do some really cool shows in partnership with the Sarah, and we both agreed, hey, there's too much we don't know. We'd hate for our first impression of working together to be construction. And so let's pause and we'll start that up in October, November, or something like that. So where normally we would do everything we can to bring more people here to do more things with us, we're going to try to keep our core services fully intact. We're going to have a very thorough and successful, incredible summer reading program. We'll just be leveraging other facilities throughout Orem to deliver that because there's so much that we just won't be in control of here. And we'd hate to cancel something a week before the day of because something happens that we're not in control of. So those are our updates, questions, concerns, ideas.
Is that north children's entrance going to be a permanent entrance then, going forward, or?
So, if I could be in charge of everything in the world, what I would love to have happen is that entrance to connect a lot of that grass right there. We don't use a ton because it's by two massive roads. Our thought would be, could we fence it off in a way that it's only accessible from inside the library, and we add even more trees and it becomes an extension of our children's library programming space. And so we would love, the door will be forever. Our hope would be you come into children's, you turn left into the courtyard, you turn right, and you've got this safe, fenced off from First and State Street, grass area and big trees and spots to read, and we'll put chairs and hammocks and all sorts of fun stuff out there to supplement what we do with children's.
That's a good idea.
That is not funded. We have no funding for that. But the thought was, in fact, as we talked today, is we felt that the door is an investment in our future and not a added cost, of a temporary something.
I like that. Cool.
Your hands are full. It is. Good luck.
It's going to be rough. Yeah. Also, but our staff have been amazing. If I could highlight just a couple, Aurelie Martinez is her name. Last time, right? She just got married. She helps a lot with our circulation, and she made 5 plans based off of 5 different scenarios, and has all of that in the purchasing and the technology and the needs ready to go. Mary Davies and Hannah are in our acquisitions team. They have been, again, very ahead of the curve. They moved to the new book sale style events. We didn't have so much storage and stuff, and they've been very gracious with their space. And I could list off, basically everyone else on the staff. They've been very good to just roll with it, accept that this is happening, and it will be inconvenient, so they've just been awesome.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
The parts where they're fencing off the existing entrance there on the west side, is it just for landscaping? Is it just because of the construction in the parking lot? Are they using the storage space in that parking lot space?
That has a lot to do with what they're doing under, and let me make sure I understand.
Yeah, just like all this part right here, like all this. You couldn't keep using this because that's just all part of that, or there's.
And we're moving the drive-in, the drop-off, and replacing a window, and then that mechanical yard on that little triangle right there is also getting some new equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, you got your hands full.
Yeah.
And then when it's done and they drive those trucks away, you're gonna have, well, obviously more connectivity to the existing structure of the city center and all of that. It's gonna be.
That the new plaza that connects, that will be where this current city center is, that will be in between, I think will do wonders for Library Hall and wonders for indoor or the outdoor spaces of our services. So we've, Shannon is over a lot of our collection maintenance and even a lot of the circulating in and out and damage check and potential loss of materials, but gaining access to be able to read outside or to read in the greenhouse, to read in this, library, children's backyard, all of that. We really want to do whatever we can to make it experiential. We want the library to be services and not just the brick and mortar building. And right now with the security and all of that, it requires it, but Shannon's got a great team, and they're going to figure out how do we check it in, but check it out, or check it out remotely and make it really easy and, keep our materials safe, but also make it fun to be on the block.
Sounds fun. Okay. If we don't have any other questions, go back to Bryce again on the budget.
Yes. So when we last met in January, the budget was being worked on. We are now in March. In February, we turn it in to the budget subcommittee, which is a staff group. Our, accountant, our comptroller, all of that. They have now prepared it and sort of synthesized all the city budgets and brought it to the council, and they will choose to accept it or not in our second meeting in April. Looking at your calendars, April 22nd.
What are we looking at?
Our April Tuesdays. Not the 8th, but 22nd. So on April 22nd, they will accept the budget. Some highlights, and Shannon, Jamie, jump in if I miss something. Number one, last year was the first year of having 3 divisions. Traditionally, we'd had 2. We had not had the library hall and outreach division. And so a lot of what we are fixing between the divisions is we did guesstimates of how many part-time hours would go to programming versus stay and outreach and all that. We were wrong, we were close, but you're just guessing at that point. So fixing some of those things where it's no new money in or new money out, it's just how we've split it. We have also had some changes where previously we had some full-time positions, specifically I'm thinking of programming. We had 2 associate librarians. We now have 1 librarian, which is a higher position. And the needs of programming, given that we have so many programs Monday through Saturday night, it was easier to have part-time staff so no one full-timer was working all nights and weekends. It's easier to do that. So we had some changes there. We also had some changes where we introduced the new lead position for part-time. So we used to just have frontline part-time staff. We now have an elevated position where they're making $16 to $18 an hour. They're typically in college or thinking about librarianship as a career, so they're able to. I've loved it. It helps us promote staff and create some connectivity from part-time to full-time positions. So we've made some of those adjustments. We have increased our total collections budgets by $69,000.
Oh, sorry, I remember the percent.
Okay. When the city did the NGT study a year and a half ago, which was a citywide study to look at efficiencies and spending, comparing to neighboring cities, one thing that the Orem Public Library was out of whack on was our percentage of budget that went to staff, and staffing was too high, and our percentage of budget that went to the collection development, purchasing materials, was too low. And so we have slowly adjusted that the last 2 years. Our goal was not to mess with anybody who was in a current position, but when a position was vacated, we felt that that was a much better time to move the dollars and be in line with best practices there. And so we increased $40,000 last year, and then let's just say $70,000 this year to help us be better in line with best practices for libraries. On the next agenda item, I'll walk you through whether we go physical collection or digital collection and what that looks like and what we're sort of experiencing on the digital side. But that was one of the other ones. 2 of the last big budget items that we did was we took more money, and I want to explain this, from each of the divisions on equipment and major supplies, and we pooled that together in the admin budget. And what we had found was the cost of certain types of projects has escalated, and so if we gave everyone $12,000 in technology, you can't really do anything with it anymore. A smart shelf costs $25,000. A new digital checkout is $23,000. And so the goal was, Mike and I worked closely on some new lighting needs for Library Hall. Those bids are coming in between $45,000 and $50,000. So we pulled that money together and we greatly increased it so that we are able to sort of internally prioritize what is the library need right now, and our division administrators will work together to just sort of say, okay, what do we need to do first half of the year, second half of the year, and how can we make it so that each project has enough money. Jamie alluded to this space. This is our media auditorium, and I don't know if it has the panache of a media auditorium. We really want to get a very high quality screen. We want to paint it dark. We want to get full on movie theater recliners in here. So if you're going to watch a movie, you're going to watch a movie.
An experience.
Yeah.
Which would require some better soundproofing and all of that. That's a really cool project. Jamie couldn't. We don't have enough money to just leave, let's say, $60,000 or $70,000 in Jamie's budget every year. But if three of us, we could. But the 3 of us could get together and schedule some of those projects out. So rather than Shannon looking at Jamie and saying, well, I want that, we're able to say, what do we need now? Let's the 3 of us get to agreement on something and go from there. you know, and I say that because Shannon's got the biggest project and the first project, you know, getting the new organized workflow and workspace. And so these two have not done some major projects this year. As they get their new workspace, we'll move on to the next one and sort of go from there. So again, not a Bryce took money from the 3 division administrators, but rather the 3 of us are going to, or the 5 of us are going to sort of work together on whichever 1 or 2 or 3 big picture things that they're doing. Did I miss any big budget highlights?
Program team,
Yeah,
did you cover that?
yeah, on the staffing we did, the 1 librarian.
Oh, I meant the program.
Oh.
budget.
Programming budget increased by $21,000 as well. The nature of programs, this last year we did 3,500 kids in summer reading, and that's only one of our programs. In a year, I mean, you used to do $5,000 for summer reading or less.
Less.
And, you know, to run an entire summer of programming for $1.50 a kid just doesn't work. There's just not enough we can do, and so we've increased some of that. On the revenue side, Mike and his team have done an incredible job of activating Library Hall, and so our revenue projections from rentals or ticketed shows has continued to increase. Those dollars feed our equipment that stays here with the library and feeds our ability to purchase new equipment. And then the revenues of fines and fees has very quietly been cut in half. I know a lot of libraries have gone very big, swung for the fences, you know, fine free. And we have not done that. However, we did feel that we had some really expensive dollars earned in terms of frustrating to young parents of kids who are tough on the books or something like that. So we still have all of our fines in place, but again, Shannon and her team have said, how do we apply the fines and fees that we have? How can we extend before we charge a late fee? How can we reduce the amount of staff time we're spending to look for the damage to charge a fee that nobody likes? And so in years past, I think we were pushing $40,000 in fine and fee revenue, and this year we're, I think, at $16,000. So we're thrilled about that, and thanks to where we can make money and feel great about it, we have more groups coming in to perform art, and people want to buy a ticket for it. That's happy dollars, and then we're able to sort of reduce sad dollars in fines and fees without, again, going full, maybe political, but full. There are politics with fine free, and whether we like that or not, and I think we're just saying, let's just choose, let's be a little bit more judicious when we do a fine or a fee. Let's extend one more time for free before we fine. If a parent says their kid didn't do it, that's the end of the conversation. And we probably are being lied to sometimes, but how are we gonna win that conversation on the phone? You know, it's just not gonna happen. So, yeah, I think those are any other major budget items? Shannon's over collections. Programs, patron experience, hall outreach. Any questions from y'all on budget?
No.
No.
I don't think so. Thank you, Bryce. So the next is still you, Bryce.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. The Beehive Consortium overview.
Okay, while I'm pulling this up, Shannon, can I put you on the spot? Can you give us a simple overview of the Beehive Library Consortium?
Yeah, so the Beehive Library Consortium, which we are a part of, is a consortium of libraries that get together and we all use Overdrive or Libby, if you're familiar with that. So it is statewide, and I learned recently we are the 12th most highly circulating consortium worldwide for those types of e-materials. Does that about cover it?
That's perfect. So the Utah State Library, the USL, puts in funds every year, allocated to them through the state legislature. They purchase books. They pay for the consortium sort of admin fees. You know, Overdrive as a company charges the state consortium $55,000 a year to host the books. They also get some money that they spend. They own a bunch of the copies. Then, as a consortium member, they tell us how much we have to pay into the consortium. They use 2 calculations, one based off of cost per circulation from the previous year. So they had 6.7 million circulations. The total amount spent was this. The cost per circulation is about 31 cents. So if our library cardholders did, 485,000 of those circulations, we would owe this much money to them. The second way they do it is as a percentage of our total collection budget. So as we add more money to collections this budget year, we will be required to pay more to the consortium. When we pay in money to the consortium, they then take a percentage of it and they spend it on our behalf, and they are copies owned by the state, which means every library, the cardholders of every library have equal access to those books. You jump in first, person from Duchesne jumps in second, third from Cache Valley, boom, that's the order. The other half they then give back to us to spend on overdrive, but those are what are called advantage copies. If you jump in first, Duchesne jumps in second, you jump in third from our library, you're actually second. Duchesne doesn't get in until our people are taken care of. In doing so, they build a volume of materials that everyone has equal access to, and a volume of materials that we are offering to the consortium, but we are first serving our people.
How many people are in this, how many libraries are in this?
Everyone in the state except Salt Lake County libraries, Salt Lake City Library, Murray, and the Cache County. Now, Logan City is in the consortium. Cache County is not.
Gotcha.
Same thing, Sandy City Library is in it. The Sandy branch of the Salt Lake County is not. Any questions on how that works? A couple of things that are funny about the consortium is you might see a title in as a Orem library cardholder that you don't agree with being in our collection. We didn't buy it, we didn't pay for it, Duchesne did. It shows up as a disadvantaged copy to you as an Orem Public Library cardholder because your library didn't buy it, but it will show up. And that has been an issue in the past to say, why is this book in here? And we say, because we're part of the consortium. To leave the consortium, we would lose access to hundreds of thousands of copies of books, but we also lose some control of the collection that we show as a library. Another
Bryce,
thing.
can I jump in?
Please.
Just to address your question, there are 70 member libraries in this
Okay.
consortium.
I think when we were at the meeting, Garfield Library contributed $88 to the consortium this year. That buys
gosh.
about 2/3 of one book. And then Davis County System contributed 1.2 million. And that was circulations. I don't know what they contributed, but they accounted for 1.2 million circulations. So somewhere between Garfield and all of Davis County is OPL. We are in the highest tier, and it's not close. We're definitely in the highest tier of users. I think only Davis County, Weaver County, and
full county system.
and Provo are ahead of us.
So the full county system basically leveling out with the city.
Yeah, yeah. And Davis County is 2.5 times as big as us. Davis County is the outlier. Weber is, I want to say, double us, and then us, Provo, are in like that 500,000 range. I think they're just above 500,000, we're just below 500,000. Go from there. So, all of this, I mentioned this because as we discussed our budget, the question is, do we put more money to our digital assets, which would be to the consortium, knowing that every additional dollar we put in is advantage copies. It serves, if our people want it, they get it first. If it's sitting untouched on a shelf, somebody else can have it. But we can put that in. Now the tricky part is how digital titles are sold to us. So last week, a title was purchased from Simon Schuster, one of the largest publishing houses, for $130. That is what's called a metered copy. After 2 years or after 52 checkouts, whichever happens first, we lose access to it. It's gone forever.
52 checkouts isn't very much.
Sure isn't.
For that much money.
For that much money. We're paying $3 a copy. And I am not here to send any of you to library jail, but how many of you have requested a book and it finally shows up to you and you don't read it? Okay, maybe just me. Okay, okay, good. I'm not alone. the same happens. We have lost an opportunity to get that book to somebody else. When we get a book and it sits here on that shelf, it's ours forever. Now, we are paying for AC and heat and staff and collection and maintenance and. But that book cost us $30 and we get it forever. Here, we're paying $80 to $130. We get it for 2 years and or a certain number of checkouts, and then it's gone forever. And the publishing houses, the big five especially, are not getting cheaper. In fact, they're getting more expensive by about 20% per year. So if we increase our digital spend by 20%, we will be able to get as much as we got last year. Now, that's not the only way that they sell. Metered is one. There is also a one copy, one use version. Sorry,
One copy, one user.
one copy, one user. And that one is like a book. We get it forever, and when you're done with it, it goes back on the shelf. Somebody else can get it and go from there. There are some not consistent, but several people can have a copy at once. Concurrent, a concurrent use, and so we would say we are buying 250 of this book. And if we use all 250 at the same time, or if 250 lasts us 5 years, whatever it is, we just get 250 chances at that book. The metered and the concurrent are the most expensive per use, but you can imagine the popular titles, they are going to send, the publishers are going to choose that method and require us to go there.
Okay, so you can't choose,
No.
if it's this book, I want to do the one copy, one user. No,
Sometimes-
they're telling you it's
sometimes
only
you can
metered.
choose, yeah.
Okay.
But not on
For-
the popular ones.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are.
but there are reasons, even if we have a choice to choose metered for the popular titles, we know that the newest Brandon Sanderson or,
Sarah Maas,
Sarah Mess, yeah,
Susan Collins.
will be very, very popular when it first comes out, and then that popularity is just going to drop. So we get a one copy, one user version of it, and then we also get a certain number of metered titles. So we cover the immediate need, but then also address long-term. We have it forever.
We had taken a complaint from a concern from a patron right after this most recent election, that they went to our digital collection and said, I'm not seeing enough of the historical books written by Trump, and I'm seeing all of these available copies of essentially whatever was popular at the midterm election 2 years ago, because all the libraries in the consortium said everyone wants to read about, I don't know, whoever was popular 2 years ago at the midterms. And what they were seeing was, well, all those books are available because no one's checked them out, and they're at the end of their 2 years. Meanwhile, we had Hillbilly Elegy, and in the consortium, we had 115 copies. The problem is everyone wants to read this because who is this new person, and what can we learn about them? And so to Shannon's point, if we buy a bunch of copies that are not metered, then we have it for 2 years, or maybe we have it forever, depending on how they choose to sell us the book, and it can make our collection look a little wompy. Versus on the bookshelf, if we want to buy backwards and have like more of an archival of specifically Donald Trump, and we've got these books that he's written over the last 30 years, we can do it, and it doesn't cost us a ton more to keep it. Versus in digital, we would have to every 2 years spend another $80. And so we look and it's like, well, it was checked out 4 times. Do we want to keep that on the shelf for $20 a use, or do we want to pick what's very popular and current? So the digital acts more as a what's hot now,
Yeah.
and the physical collection acts as a what are people. If we get 4 checkouts on a book, on a regular book, that's fine. That's 4 checkouts a year. That's great. On a digital, that's not going to justify its costs because we'd be paying so much per circulation. So they do have some different needs. A couple other things, and then I have a couple of questions for y'all. You can see that we are adding a significant amount. We are purchasing a big portion, like we are sort of leaders in this, and then our users, I thought this was interesting, I didn't have this information when I talked to you yesterday. We can see that most users or the bulk of our holds are held by people that have 21 to 30 holds at a particular time.
Oh my goodness.
Because they have multiple cards in the system. And so,
Nobody can read that many all at once.
and yet they can. These are voracious. Now again, if this would be my family, so it'd be me, my wife, and my 4
Okay, not
kids.
one
The
person.
6 of us have 21 to 30 holds.
Okay, well,
But still, there's probably a lot, as I have done some anecdotal research, because I was shocked like you, and I'm like, who are these people? And they're very normal people. That was very common
if it's a
of what it was.
family.
So we know that power users account for 400,000 of our holds. There's about 600,000 holds in the system right now. The average wait time is 56 days. And again, that's because Shannon is going to go through and put 20 holds out. Jamie's going to put 20. I'm going to put 40 because I got all my kids. And so we're just going to rack them and stack them or whatever. He's going around the neighborhood just gathering library cards so that he can have access to his series. And so a popular series like, do we even know what the whole list is for the new Suzanne Collins, the new Hunger Games book that comes out next week? I assume it will be thousands of hold requests. I bet there will be 100 to 150 copies, but I would not be surprised to see a 9 to 12 month wait to get it if you want to wait through Libby. Now, that will decrease as eventually Jamie gets sick of it, of waiting, and she gets a physical copy from the book. She removes herself from the queue, and my wait gets shorter and shorter and shorter. But there will be...
Assuming she removes herself.
Yes, and not spends our money just letting it sit there.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it tell us?
I'm just looking for the.
Oh, Songbirds and Snakes,
No,
I'm
that's
sure.
not the new one. Sunrise on the Reaping, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Is the one. Let's see if I place a hold. There's
Several
1,000
months wait.
Yeah, several months.
Yeah,
4
just
copies in
vague,
use.
that's
1,961 people in total waiting. So 490 people per copy in Tulane.
Mostly because next week, the consortium between the different libraries, I'm sure will add 100 copies.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
each
this is
patron needs to
really
put
good.
in what their reading level is, like how fast they can read, how many
Yeah.
words a minute, so you know.
I would
Okay,
just
you
like
gotta
to-
go to the back of the line, you're a slow reader.
Slow reader.
What speed they listen.
Yes, what is your
This is a
speed?
2x line only.
Yes.
We didn't know that, it's already collected. But how much, we don't pay for the hold, we pay for the checkout. Correct.
Yes,
So if you end up
Yeah.
watching the hold, it pops up and you don't check it out, you're like.
then you're okay.
And you've got like, what is it on Libby? 4 days?
3 days, I think.
To get it.
To
Yeah,
decide.
decide.
It pings you and lets you know it's ready if you want it, and if you don't get it, then it goes to the next person.
Another question on that, you talked about moving the budget from the staff towards collections over the last little while. That means that the percentage of money, because the paying to the digital sources, that was a percentage of collections, right? So as
Yes.
you've increased funding in collections over the last few years, you've increased the amount, dollar amount, but the percentage has been the same.
We have outpaced we are able to acquire more materials. It is not, even though we've added $110,000, that is not going as far, but where the increases is about 60,000. So we do have 50,000 of new purchasing power, but it's half because of the cost from this main 5 publishers who have all the books that we want to read. You know, it's not like we're going off in some weird
Well,
niche.
yeah, this is nationwide, worldwide issue. I saw on CBS Sunday Morning, they were talking about that publishers are talking to each other and, you know, basically fixing the price of the books.
We have a couple of agreements within the system. You know, we have access to a number of magazines through the consortium. Those are unlimited concurrent users, so they just pay a flat fee every year, and any magazine that's in there, everyone can check it out at the same time. Covenant Communications is a local publisher. They pay a flat fee. You can get as many people as want to read those at a time. That's great. So there are some value add portions of it to try to balance this out, to say, hey, you can do this. Pride and Prejudice is an always available copy. It's the #1 listened to book every month, and it's forever. We just can always listen to it. And so there are some things that it's not all doom and gloom, but some of your most popular titles from your biggest authors are very expensive for libraries right now. So I guess my question at the end of all of this is where our people are going. This is not going away, and this is hitting all libraries equally. Do you have thoughts? Do you have concerns? Do you have a idea? Are you okay that we continue to spend more, and to spend more to get the same, but also to spend more pushing it at this digital demand? How would you balance it? We have some other services, smaller services that we use like Hoopla and Canopy that can do, Canopy is video and streaming. Hoopla is a pay-per-use that, like when we did our Orem Reads Challenge and we needed 200 copies of Fahrenheit 451, we just pay it. And we just go and give everyone a credit and they get that book. Or we can do we did a promotion at Christmas time where we knew people were gonna have extra time to read, and so we gave out double credits on Hoopla, so you could go basically get any book you wanted to for 3 weeks, and we just paid for it. So we have some other things, but thoughts, concerns, direction, as we consider what the future of the consortium is, and e-readers and everything like that.
Do you have data on, I don't know, I'm assuming all the digital side of things is going to produce data. So the data would be the habits, and you're saying that this is where everyone's going. I know my wife consumes enormous amounts of books digitally, but you know, like I would hate for it to become like, okay, this is where we're going, let's sacrifice the physical experience because the digital, we're all just going to go wholesale on it. Like I would have concerns about that. Unless the data is going to say like overwhelmingly this is what's happening. But do you see there any type of exchange on that? Is it like let's sacrifice the physical, or?
You read my mind. We have good data on what they do. I don't have any data, and what we've requested from the state is data on when do you become dissatisfied based on the weight. My understanding is a lot of you, they know it's a weight on Libby. They're fine with it. It's a supplemental thing. Or, yeah, in terms of depth and breadth, we don't really know. We don't have a good profile on if we put $100,000 more at digital this year, we're just burning cash, and we move it from 56 weight days to 52. Does anybody even notice?
Right.
Versus $100,000 to programs or $100,000 to get a new teen librarian, those would be noticed. But there is a cutoff of if we pull all this money back and now everyone's wait times are 6 and 8 months, they would notice to the negative. I would really like to tie the dollar amount to a satisfaction rate of people. Am I just giving more books to people that have 40 holds and they're getting it 2% quicker? Or am I changing lives and is experiential, and the state doesn't have that for us yet? We would love that data.
I'm assuming over the next 5 years,
Yeah,
this
you
will be
need that.
established long enough, you'll be able to find that sweet spot. I mean, I just assume looking at how the digital
And
data flows.
I love the way you say sweet spot. We can't spend down to a zero weight. There's not enough money in the world because the publishers would just raise their prices, you know? And so there's the sweet spot of what's not so annoying, but you understand there's a weight. And if it's that bad, just go buy the Ballad of whatever on audio.
Or come check it out.
Or come
We're
check it out.
getting like 12 copies of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there's
Next
that,
week?
maybe that's a messaging side of it, is like, obviously the people who want it now, there are outlets for you to find that now.
Yeah.
And the library is the place you'll get it eventually. I mean, that's kind of how it's always been. If you wanted to buy the physical copy, you go get your own, otherwise you wait for us to share the one that goes around. Yeah, the digital side of it, I don't know how it works with movies. I love Canopy. I've used it quite a bit, but I haven't used the music service side of it yet. But
Canopy's, I think, a lot better. We are more of a flat fee there, but they choose what comes and goes. So for us, that's a great bang for our buck, and it's easy to budget. We just buy Canopy every year. No, again, sometimes you have titles you love, sometimes not, but I like the flat fee. That's a little easier.
Does everybody but me know this exists? That we are in a consortium where we can do all this stuff?
I don't know how much we advertise
can do
us
that.
being in the consortium. When you have an Orem Public Library card and you go to the Libby app and you punch it in, I don't know if people care if they're in the consortium or not. They just care how many titles they have access
Right.
to and what the weights are. I feel very confident saying our absolute best bang for our buck is being a part of the consortium. This feels a massive net positive for us. A couple of libraries since the consortium started have left. Both have immediately come back. You just cannot, we do not have the purchasing power without it. And so obviously we're glad to counterpoints from y'all, but I feel as someone who really is interested in where our dollars go and what kind of impact we see, the consortium feels the right use of our money right now, including the loss of collection development ownership on some items. I think the risk reward is definitely in favor of the reward on that right now. Last year we had 400 and 55,000 of our 1.35 million checkouts, so about a third of our use is coming through the app.
And that makes it possible for those outlying libraries to have access, instead of just, well, you're out here, too bad.
We got 4 books this month.
You know,
Pick one
I
of the
mean,
4.
that's, yeah, I think that's important too.
Now, they do have to wait longer,
Yes, I
because it's our
understand
money,
that, but then
but they
nevertheless.
have it at least, and we love that.
Yeah.
So 2 years from
We can
now,
share.
Hillbilly Elegy will finally be to them, as whatever is new popular at the midterms will be very different. It's about 3 to 1 audiobooks to ebooks. That's the one I have the hardest time with. I don't know, like ebooks to paper books feels like an incredible spend, but we don't really control that. And then 6% of the circulations are those magazines, those always available magazines. They said the most popular magazine was the New Yorker.
Really?
I don't know if it's a generational thing. I haven't read a magazine on purpose. Outside of the American Way, on the backseat of the plane, maybe ever. Maybe some National Geographic from at my in-laws' house or something.
I've wondered about that, and they check out.
They check out like crazy. I was floored.
Oh, okay.
They had also had some issues going back to the magazine is a blanket. We buy it and they give all of them access to us. They have run into issues of inappropriate content magazines making their way into the system. They're able to report it and remove it immediately, but since it's sort of a blatant license, that's happened a couple of times too, but those they were able to fix pretty easily.
Just on the side of the literacy side, just listening to a lot of stuff happening at the school, there's been discussion about getting physical copies. I know Fahrenheit 451 was really big at one time. I read it, and I had many discussions with my students who were just blown away by it. But, so good choice on that. I don't know how that was chosen. But there has been discussion on audiobooks and the value of an audiobook for developing vocabulary and language. Because when you guys read, we're fast enough, we just begin to skip through and miss lots and lots of words, but we're very good at connecting the information. Audiobooks force our brain to listen to every word. And it seems to be some data developing that maybe this is really good for developing readers. So there's some kind of that's still kind of out in the open right now and being discussed, but the fact you have to listen to every single word is making your brain process every word. So.
Yeah, and that's especially helpful for people, with dyslexia or ADHD who, have a hard time focusing on a book. So there's definitely value there in a lot of ways.
I wasn't super stoked to hear that, but I was also like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I like physical copies of things. So.
I'm glad you're doing this. And we're not. It's very, it's really very complicated.
And I feel, especially in the audio or the e-materials, the intersection of the business of books and the libraries. It happens on the physical collections as well, but not nearly as much.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it will require, we are one of the larger consortiums, I think handling this well and prudently will be really important. And I think we'll reach a breaking point. I don't think the publishers will just go forever. I think they're going to find the price point and how we handle it. So it's been a fun process. A lot of trust in our state librarian, Kara Rothman. She's seemed good. She's new. She's been here for less than a year, but very sharp and very aware of some of these types of things and what we can do. So that's good. I've really enjoyed that. And yeah, I think to your point, our biggest pushback was we need to understand the customer journey, the user experience to make these decisions. I would never just give money to program and say, I have $100,000. I don't care if it's important or not, or I don't care if people are happy about it or not. And, we would absolutely follow up with our staff to say, why are we spending money on Library Hall? What do we get when we mend our books, when we charge our fees? And it's a big black box for digital right now. So they have they know who the people are. We don't know what impact each dollar has, and we would love to see that.
Finding that sweet spot will give you a voice when the publishers change their process and you say, I'm sorry, that's outside our sweet spot, we'll pull back.
Yeah.
And where you're as big as you are, it would be a noticeable voice.
What, to that point, the other thing that we want to ask them to maybe push along to the ALA, the American Library Association, or PLA, or whatever that ecosystem is going to look like over the next little bit, is to say, can we do an economic impact study to say when somebody listens to a book through their library, what is their future book spend? Because they get sick of waiting and they go, like me, they go on Audible, they go buy some of their books and they do this. And if we could help the publishers understand that some access leads to more future sales and more customers for them in the future, rather than a lot of the language right now is, well, we'll boycott them, or we'll, it's very political language. And my thought is, let's just make an economic argument here and say it's in your best interest to have some access through libraries, but not free access for everyone everywhere. I get that that's bad for their business, but I think we could help them find their sweet spot as well. And I think that would position libraries as a partner in it and not an antagonist in it, and say, oh, it's not fair. It's like, well, it's free market, they don't have to do any of this. So let's find the sweet spot that we can help you create future readers that buy material if you help us create access at a price point that we feel that we can provide the service.
So is there no limit on how many holds a patron can put?
There is.
10 per card.
Oh, okay.
We have an agreement with Provo where any Orem resident can get a Provo card, vice versa. So technically anyone in our interlocal agreement can have 20. Last week,
Well, I could put holds here on from my Provo card?
essentially you can get a Provo card by having
I've got a
Orem
Provo
library
card.
card. So you can have 20 holds.
So you could put that on your Libby and bounce back and forth between your Orem and your
I
Provo
did
cards.
not know that.
Which feels cool until the new Timpanogos Consortium was announced last week, and Pleasant Grove, American Fork, Cedar Hills, and Alpine announced a new interlocal. So they're going to get 40 holds. So I don't know inflation and economics that well, but it feels like our 20, which used to feel like double, is now going to feel like 5, which is half. And so we have also talked to them about saying, hey, what can we do about this? It would be great. Or, again, I'm fortunate to have 4 children, so do I get 60? Is that really fair? I don't know what my 2-year-old is contributing to the household reading environment, but
So you get people
That will use all their kids' cards.
yeah,
they game it.
they do. And so how can we work through some of those things so that if 10 holds is what they actually want everyone to have, I mean, it shows here that 400,000 of our holds are held by people that have an average of 21 to 30 holds. Feels like we could fix 2/3 of the problem by doing that. Now, there would be some effects. There'd be some negative. The poor Merrill family that actually has 4 readers, or 4 reading kids and 2 reading adults, I can only get 10, then that would be frustrating. But we have to choose which problem we want to deal with. Or maybe it's up to, it's 10 per, but it's up to 20 based off of household. Or maybe it's per consortium and we do that and everyone gets 60 holds. But we set a hard max of 25. I don't know what we do, but it feels like there's a way to really cut down on the number of holds by fixing some of the 20, 30, 40, 50 holds folks.
You could do age, right? So
Yes.
if it's a child card that's 0 to 16 and then 16 and above, like you could allow the younger content to be holds for the younger content, and I don't know. There's lots of ways you could break up that. Again, data is what
Would
we
help.
need.
Amen.
And there's data, the data's there. It's just gonna take time to develop it and then understand what it's actually saying.
Any other thoughts or comments on the consortium? I'm glad you explained it. I didn't understand.
And let us, I have
Part of
learned a
it.
lot too. Shannon, again, has been very kind to explain a lot of it to me, and now to get to go to the meetings and all of that. So if you all have questions, if you have concerns, please let us know. Or even does everyone know about this but me? If we're not advertising like we think we are, all of this is really good feedback. So thank you.
Any other points of discussion people want to bring up?
Just had a question. You did that big sale instead of having it constantly out there. What's the advantage of that? Sorry, I may have missed it because I missed a meeting or two.
No, you're okay. Basically, it's a lot less staff time. The savings is in staff costs of having to set it every day versus set it once a quarter. So we still moved 5,000 items.
I think it was about that, or 4,000.
Yeah.
Which I think in terms of dollars equaled the same with the old model, but the impact on the community was huge. We saw a big turnout from patrons here. Everyone got really excited about it, and then, like Bryce said, we saved on staff time. So.
It was mayhem. It was
It was mayhem.
mayhem.
Nancy, I think you had a concern though about that last time about actual card members maybe getting some early access, right? Is that?
Well,
if
do
that
you know
was
the date
pursued.
of the next sale? Because I got the Orem flyer 2 days after the sale, so I missed it.
Oh,
So I was pretty sad about that. And then I read the notes and it said it was, if we talked about it, it went over my head because I didn't know it was March 3rd.
you know, we will
So-
we will get that date to you for this next one. I don't know it off the top of my head. It's quarterly.
Okay, so it'll be in
Go ahead.
June.
We had talked about early August, but with the construction, that may need to change.
Okay.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
construction.
It may not happen for a while.
The
but I
date
might-
that we are looking at, if you want me to find it.
And we had actually talked as a staff as part of our debrief. We felt like we did not see the resale scavengers in trying to watch it. That's not to say it won't happen.
But you
They
didn't
got the
see
flyer
them.
when I did. It was.
Yeah,
all-
Yeah, use more of that space because it was all on that one end and it was hard to move and
Yeah.
the line to buy was pushed through the books and so then you didn't know if you were in line to buy or if it was in line to look. And
Yeah,
it was
the
great.
technology to have more point of sale will be fixed for the next one. That was and it was only long for the first hour, and then the rest of the time it was fine. But we can just buy a couple more terminals for the first hour or two or whatever we need to.
When I was getting music and the CDs were not in the case.
Yeah, you had to go
and
and check them out.
they weren't in alphabetical order and so it was literally like we just kept flipping through the books.
Cool.
Oh, I think that's the one we want. Yeah, okay, this says it online and it was a long process. So.
August 4th is our.
We learned a lot of lessons
tentative
in our
date.
first one.
Yeah,
August
Yeah,
4th.
August 4th for
I'm writing that.
tentative
It's a
next sale.
Monday.
Big tentative
It's
though.
a Monday?
Yeah,
We're a
Okay.
construction zone.
big tentative, but that is what we're looking at. So
It's the
we'll
first
update between now and
so
then.
I remember writing it down.
Okay, that's it for me.
Anything else, anyone? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn? Make a motion to adjourn? I second it. Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, all right.
Our next meeting will likely be in the new city center. So we'll make sure when we send out that invitation, which room we're in and where that room is at.
How to find
and
it.
how to find it. We'll be looking
Wearing
for it as
hard
well.
hats.
Yeah. Maybe.